Too lazy to research devices you want on your own? Aw, don't be sad, we've got you covered. Watch our comparison video instead. Welcome to the Lazy Reviewers, and this is our complete comparison of the Poco X3 and the Samsung Galaxy A51. On the blue side we have the Poco X3, son of the king of the budget market, the Poco F1, and on the right side we have the Samsung's attempt at the lower mid-range. Both phones are pretty clearly fighting for the same market, so this should be a pretty fair fight. Let's take a look at the Poco X3 first. The phone is powered by a Snapdragon 732G processor with up to 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. On the front of the phone we have an IPS FHD panel with a 120Hz refresh rate. There is a small hole punch in the center of the top. Moving on to the back of the phone, here we have our camera module in the top middle with the Poco logo in the bottom side along with a stripe pattern on the back. Moving on to Samsung's side, on the front we have a 60Hz AMOLED panel. The hole punch and the chin are noticeably smaller than the Poco X3, giving the Samsung a more premium feel. Both phones are running on Android version 10 as you can see here. Moving to the back of the phone, we have our camera module in the top left and our Samsung logo near the bottom of the phone. The A51 is running on the Exynos 9611 processor with up to 8GB of RAM with 256GB of storage. The phone's design is more ambitious than the Poco and lots of color filled in. Now let's talk about the fingerprint sensors. On the Poco X3 we have our fingerprint power button combo on the right side, whereas on the Samsung we have an in-display fingerprint scanner. Both of them are pretty snappy and don't waste any significant time on animations or anything of the sort. Moving on to the phone's temperatures, the Poco is resting at a comfy 23 degrees on the CPU, whereas the Samsung's Exynos is at a cozy 46 degrees. Getting into benchmarks, running Antutu, we'll get back once the test is completed by either of the phones. Here the Poco X3 finishes the test a lot faster with a score of 284,000. With the CPU score being over 100,000, taking a look at the A51, it manages to barely cross the 200,000 mark, with a CPU score of 62,000. After the test, there was a slight increase in the temperature of both phones, about 8 degrees on the Poco and about 3 degrees on the Samsung. Moving on to the speed test, here we're opening Instagram first, and as you can see here it opens on the A51 a lot faster. Now moving on to Candy Crush Saga. Wait, let me just find it. So Candy Crush opens on the Poco X3 a lot faster, saving you a couple of seconds, making use of that Snapdragon processor. Next, we're moving on to Temple Run, and Temple Run as well opens on the Poco X3 a lot faster because of the faster processor. Moving on to PUBG. In PUBG, the Poco X3 again takes the lead by a couple of seconds. The Poco X3 also offers a higher quality gameplay thanks to its higher refresh rate panel. The faster processor on the Poco X3 will save you a couple of seconds here and there, and it is faster than the Exynos 9611. Putting the phones together, we can see that the Poco is quite a bit thicker and taller than the Samsung A51. The camera bump on the Poco is clearly bigger as well. The A51 is pretty small and fighting way above its weight class. Both of our models are running at 6GB of RAM, as you can see here. The Poco's 120Hz refresh rate gives it a more pleasing feel while scrolling, whereas the A51 is the same old, same old. Summing up, both of these phones, even though they are competing in the same class, their skill sets are completely different. If you're looking for a sleeker phone that looks great and offers latest features like an in-display fingerprint scanner, along with a sharper panel that's OLED, the A51 is for you. But if you want the most raw performance you can get and don't care about how hefty your phone is, the Poco X3 is for you. Well, that's all we have for you today. Let us know if you enjoyed the video by liking it, suggest what devices you'd like to see in the future. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more to the point unboxings, reviews and much more.